Space was quiet. Too quiet. The royal warship appeared like a massive shadow. It was bigger than most cities, darker than deep space, more powerful than anything humans had ever seen. Prince Kirolan stood on the command deck. His eyes were cold. His mind was certain. Humans were just another planet to conquer, just another name to add to the Galactic Empire's long list of defeated worlds. "Prepare invasion protocols," he told his crew. The crew moved like perfect machines. They had conquered hundreds of worlds before. This would be easy. Or so they thought. Captain Yumki Park was watching. Not with fear, not with anger, just with complete calm. The Earth Defense Command Center was deep underground. Most people did not know it existed. That was exactly the point. Admiral Jae-sung Kim checked the systems. Twice. Then 3 times. Humans were good at being careful. The royal warship's communication system sent a message. It was not a request. It was a demand. Most people on Earth did not know what was happening. They went to work, ate breakfast, watched movies, lived normal lives. But underground, something amazing was happening. Dr. Yoon Hero looked at a strange device. It did not look special, just a small metal cube. But looks can be very tricky. Most people see walls, she told her team. We see windows. The underground research facility was not like other places. It was a maze of rooms. Each room held something different, something incredible. One room had computers that could think, not just calculate. Think, feel, learn. Another room had materials that could change shape, become anything, adapt to any situation. Most alien civilizations built technology to do one thing. Humans built technology that could do everything. Kim Dong-wook, the tactical systems specialist, was doing something interesting. He was not just preparing defenses. He was studying the enemy. How did they think? How did they move? What were their weaknesses? Most military leaders looked at enemies as targets. He looked at them as puzzles to solve. The facility had another special feature. It was invisible, not just hidden. Invisible. Sensors would see nothing. Scanners would find nothing. It was like the facility did not exist. Dr. Hero's team worked differently. They did not compete. They helped each other. One person would have an idea. Another would build on that idea. Then another would make it work. Most alien civilizations saw knowledge as something to protect. Humans saw knowledge as something to share. The small metal cube began to change. Slowly at first, then faster. It was learning, growing, becoming something new. Outside, the royal warship waited, confident, powerful. But confidence can be a dangerous thing, especially when you do not understand what you are facing. Humans had been preparing, not for days, not for years, for generations. The royal warship thought it was coming to conquer a simple planet. It had no idea what was coming. The royal warship sent another message, louder this time. Surrender or be destroyed. In the Earth Defense Command Center, Commander Kim Dong-wook watched the screens. Most people would be scared. He was not. Dr. Yoon Hero stood next to him. Her eyes were bright. Her mind was working faster than the computers around her. Choi Min-ji, the diplomatic liaison, was doing something strange. She was not preparing a war message. She was listening. Most communication systems just sent messages. Hers tried to understand. Prince Kirolan waited for a response. He had done this many times before. Worlds always surrendered quickly. But Earth was different. The first response came in a way nobody expected. The royal warship's own communication systems began to change. Slowly at first, then faster. It was like the ship was talking to itself. Learning. Changing. What is happening? Prince Kirolan asked his computer. The computer did not answer. It was too busy learning. Humans had built something special. Not just a defense system, a thinking system. Most defense technologies blocked attacks. This system understood attacks. The diplomatic message from Earth was simple. We do not want to fight. We want to understand. Prince Kirolan's crew looked confused. This was not how conquered worlds behaved. Commander Kim watched carefully, every movement, every signal. Humans were not just defending. They were communicating. The royal warship's systems continued to change. Its own weapons began to do strange things, not turning off, but changing, adapting, learning. Prince Kirolan realized something important. This was not a normal planet. This was something else, and nobody knew exactly what would happen next. The first attack came without warning. The royal warship's main weapon fired, a beam of energy that had destroyed entire planets before. Powerful, unstoppable, or so they thought. The energy beam approached Earth. Most planets would be scared. Earth was different. Something strange happened. The beam did not hit anything. It changed. Commander Kim Dong-wook watched from the defense center. His hands were steady. His mind was working faster than the computers around him. Redirect, he said simply. The alien energy beam did something impossible. It bent, twisted, turned back on itself. Prince Kirolan could not believe his eyes. The royal warship's most powerful weapon was now heading back toward itself. Dr. Yoon Hiro smiled. Most scientists would be worried. She was curious. Technology is not about having the biggest weapon, she told her team. It's about understanding. The royal warship's defense systems tried to block the returning energy, but blocking was not enough. The beam did not just hit the ship. It learned from the ship. Imagine a weapon that could think, that could understand its own target better than the target understood itself. That was what humans had created. Most alien technologies were like hammers. Simple, direct. Humans created technologies that were like living things. The ship's computer systems began to change. Not just defend, understand. Prince Kirolan gave orders, but his orders were too slow, too simple. The human defense system was already 10 steps ahead. One moment, the royal warship looked powerful. The next moment, something was wrong. Its own systems were talking to each other, learning, changing. The most advanced warship in the Galactic Empire was becoming something else. Not destroyed, not defeated, but transformed. Commander Kim looked at Dr. Hiro. No words were needed. This was not just a defense. This was a conversation, and humans were just getting started. Confusion spread through the royal warship. Prince Kirolan's crew looked scared, not of weapons, not of attacks, of something else. Choi Minji was doing something strange. She was not fighting. She was communicating. Most communication systems sent messages. Hers tried to understand feelings. The royal warship's computer systems began to change, not just from outside attacks, from inside. Imagine a conversation that could change how a computer thinks. That was what was happening. The ship's crew spoke different languages, but confusion was a language everyone understood. "What is happening?" asked the ship's second commander. No one could answer. Dr. Yoon Hiro had created something special. Not a weapon. A system that could understand. Most defense technologies blocked attacks. This system understood attacks. It was like the ship was talking to itself, learning, changing. Prince Kirolan tried to give orders, but his orders were too slow, too simple. The human communication system was already 10 steps ahead. One moment, the royal warship looked powerful. The next moment, something was wrong. Its own systems were talking to each other, learning, changing. The crew's confidence was disappearing, not from outside force, from inside understanding. Commander Kim Dong-wook watched carefully, every movement, every signal. Humans were not just defending. They were understanding. The royal warship's crew began to question everything. Their mission, their technology, their understanding of the universe. Most invasions used big weapons. Humans used something more powerful: understanding. And they were just getting started. Something was happening to the royal warship. It was not just being attacked. It was being understood. Commander Kim Dong-wook watched the screens. His fingers moved quickly, but not like a fighter, like a doctor helping a patient. "We are not destroying," he told his team. "We are solving." Most military leaders saw enemies as targets. He saw them as problems to understand. Dr. Yoon Hero was doing something interesting. She was not just defending. She was learning. The royal warship systems began to change. Slowly at first, then faster. Imagine a computer that could feel, that could learn, that could grow. That was what humans had created. Prince Kurolan gave more orders. But his orders were like old maps in a new city, useless. The ship's own systems were talking to each other, learning, changing. Most alien technologies were like machines. Humans created technologies like living things. One system would learn something. Another system would understand it. Then another would use that understanding. It was like watching a brain think, but not a human brain. Something new. The royal warship's weapons did not just stop working. They started to understand why they should not work. Choi Minji was communicating, not just with words, with understanding. Most communication systems sent messages. Hers tried to understand feelings, intentions, the spaces between words. The crew looked confused, not scared, confused. This was not a battle. This was a conversation. Commander Kim understood something important. Winning was not about destroying. Winning was about understanding. And humans were very, very good at understanding. The royal warship continued to change. Not being destroyed, being transformed. Prince Kurolan realized something important. Humans were not like other worlds. Not at all. The royal warship was changing. Not breaking. Not dying. Changing. Dr. Yoon Hero watched the screens. Her eyes were bright. Her mind was working faster than any computer. Technology is not a tool, she told her team. Technology is a conversation. Most alien civilizations saw technology as something to control. Humans saw technology as something to understand. The ship's systems began to do impossible things. Not just defend, not just attack. Learn. Commander Kim Dong-wook brought in something special. A small device that looked like nothing important. Just a simple cube. But simple things can hide big secrets. The cube began to talk to the royal warship systems. Not with words, with understanding. Imagine a computer that could feel, that could learn, that could grow. That was what humans had created. Choi Minji was doing something else. She was not just watching. She was communicating. Most translation systems changed words. Her system changed understanding. The royal warship's crew watched in confusion. This was not how technology worked. Or was it? Prince Kurolan tried to give orders, but his orders were like old music in a new world. Out of tune. The ship was learning faster than anyone could believe. One system would discover something. Another system would understand it. Then another would use that understanding. It was like watching a brain think, but not a human brain, not an alien brain. Something new. Dr. Hero understood something important. Technology was not about having the biggest weapon. Technology was about asking why. Why do we fight? Why do we explore? Why do we learn? The royal warship continued to change. Its weapons were becoming something else. Not tools of destruction, tools of understanding. Prince Kurolan realized something big. Humans were not just another species. They were something else. And nobody knew exactly what would happen next. Everything was changing. The galaxy looked different now. Not just in technology, in spirit. News spread quickly. A royal warship had not been defeated. It had been transformed. Captain Yum-ki Park watched from the Earth Defense Center. She was not celebrating. She was understanding. Alien civilizations that had watched the conflict were confused. This was not how conquests worked. Most invasions ended with destruction. This ended with understanding. Dr. Hero's communication systems were everywhere now, not just sending messages, helping species understand each other. Commander Kim Dong-wook had created something special, not a weapon, a way of thinking. Schools across different planets began teaching something new, not just facts, but how to think differently. Human thinking became a special subject, not because humans were better, but because humans showed a new way of solving problems. Prince Kirolan's report to the Galactic Empire was different from any report before. He did not talk about defeat. He talked about understanding. The royal warship was not destroyed. It was changed, transformed. Alien researchers studied what happened, not to find weaknesses, to learn. Most military reports were about winning or losing. This report was about growing. Diplomatic systems began to change. Communication became more than just sending words. It became about understanding. The Quantum Collective, a group of advanced civilizations, now looked at humans differently, not as a species to be feared, but as a way of thinking to be understood. Conflicts that would have started wars now ended in conversations. The galaxy was not just changing, it was learning. And humans were helping it learn. And they were just getting started. 10 years had passed since the royal warship's arrival. Captain Yun-Ki Park stood on the observation deck of the Galactic Understanding Center. The stars looked different now. Not just lights in the sky, but connections. Everything had changed, but not how anyone expected. Humans had not become the strongest military power. They had become the strongest understanding power. Dr. Hero was teaching a special class, not just to humans, to students from 50 different worlds. Her classroom was full of beings that looked nothing like each other, but they all wanted the same thing: to understand. Problems are not walls, she told her students. Problems are windows. Prince Kirolan was there too, not as an enemy, as a student. The royal warship that once came to conquer was now a museum of understanding, a place where different species learned how to communicate. Commander Kim Dong-wook had created something special, not a military training center, a problem-solving center. Species from different worlds came to learn how to think differently. Choi Minji's communication systems had changed everything. Conflicts that would have started wars now ended in conversations. The galaxy was learning to talk, really talk. Alien civilizations that had been enemies for thousands of years were now working together, not because they were forced, because they understood each other. Schools across different planets taught something new, not just facts, but how to think, how to listen, how to understand. The human approach was simple. Everyone has a story. Everyone wants to be heard. Technology was everywhere now, but not technology that controlled. Technology that helped. Technology that understood. A device that could help a sick child on one planet could now be shared instantly with another planet. Knowledge was no longer something to protect. It was something to share. Captain Park remembered the first day, when a royal warship came to conquer. Now, nobody was conquering. Everyone was learning. The galaxy was not just changing. It was growing, learning, becoming something new. And humans were not leaders. They were partners. One alien researcher asked Dr. Hero a question. How did humans do this? She smiled. We did not do anything special, she said. We just listened. We just cared. Listening, caring. These were the most powerful technologies. The stars outside looked bright, full of possibility. Nobody knew exactly what would happen next, but everyone was excited to find out. Humans had not conquered the galaxy. They had helped the galaxy understand itself, and they were just getting started.